Hi, I'm Kari, your intuitive counselor and happiness coach with your November forecast. And this month is going to be epic. The theme of this month is radical change, and I want you to be prepared because there's so much high octane energy on the horizon, and it can be really powerful. It can be really wonderful to get you in alignment with your soul, or it can be a little bit dramatic in a way that, you know, if you're not prepared, I always say the more you consciously prepare for change, the easier it will be for you, because you don't want the universe to do this for you. So November is the 11th month of the year, so that always adds a little bit of high energy, right? And we're in Scorpio season. 11 is a master number, and it is about getting in alignment with your life because of those two ones of the 11. You have that gateway. The 11 is that gateway into the next level of your soul's evolution, and it is about being in alignment, isn't it? So the 1 is about your individuality and inspiration from the divine. You're receiving that information from the divine. And when you have those double ones, that's an exponential power to that. And again, it creates that gateway. So this is the 11th month of the year, and we are in Scorpio season. And Scorpio is always pretty intense, isn't it? So Scorpio is an element of fixed water. And you know, still waters run deep. No one's ever accused Scorpio of being superficial, have they? Right? If you are a Scorpio or you know Scorpios, you know that the divine alignment of Scorpio is to be connected, is to have intimacy and closeness with yourself, your own emotions, so that you can have connection, deep connection with the rest of the people that are important to you in the project. So this is very much about passion. Scorpio is a very passionate sign, and there's a lot of transformation that comes from getting in touch with your own passions and getting in touch with your what motivates you. But also, Scorpio is co-ruled by Pluto, which is the lord of the underworld, and Mars, which is the god of war. So, you know, it's lighthearted, easy energy, isn't it? So Scorpio is designed to get you in touch with what is buried inside of you, all what's deep inside of you, what's going on underneath the surface. All that, you know, Pluto is the god of the underworld, right? So it's about going deep beneath the surface and resurrecting what is buried there. So a lot of truth is revealed during Scorpio. Now, when 11 is activated, that is a number of truth and light. The word light is an 11 in numerology, and the word psychic is 11 in numerology. So you have that energy of that light coming into your consciousness and revealing what the shadow is so that it can be transformed. And this is why Scorpio is a sign of transformation. So when you have this incredible transformational energy, that's a lot of change. When things are being revealed from the shadow, that light is coming from the shadow, that is a lot of change and transformation. Now, a key player this month is Mercury, which is the planet of thoughts and communication and how you interact with people and really how you relate to yourself. So something to note is that Mercury is retrograde until the 21st, and then it goes into the shadow integration period for the rest of the month. So Mercury in retrograde in Scorpio, okay, so that means that the Sun and Mercury are going to be very close all month, because the Sun is going to be in Scorpio for the time that Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio. So the Sun is your consciousness. It's how you radiate into the world. It's like the opposite of the shadow, right? And so when Mercury is retrograde, what happens is that your mind, your thoughts are catching up with all of those intuitive insights and revelations that you've been ignoring. So when Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio, you're catching up with your feelings, your passions, your emotions. So it's a time to communicate very deeply. This isn't a time for superficial communication. This is a time for your mind, which is Mercury, and your heart, which is Scorpio, that water sign, emotions, to be reconnected. I say reconnected because we're in retrograde. And again, there may be parts of you that are moving forward with your life and how you communicate and share your light with the world in a way that's disconnected. So this retrograde is to get you reconnected with your passions, especially since the Sun and Mercury are in such close alignment. Now there's something extraordinary happening this month. This actually takes my breath away. On 11/11, which is, as you know, a number of enlightenment and truth and a gateway to the next step in your life. 11/11 is always like a wake-up call, right? When you see 11/11 on the clock, it reminds you to pay attention to what you're thinking, to be inspired, to allow yourself to live in your highest vibration. So on 11/11 of this year, this month, Mercury, it's something very rare. It only happens a few times a century. This year, Mercury is passing over between the Sun and the Earth, which is called the transit of Mercury. And the next time this is going to happen is 2032. The symbolism of this happening on 11/11 is astounding to me, because the Sun, it's the force of all life. It's like the creative life force, and represents you being a co-creator as you are connecting with the life force of the creator. And to have Mercury, it's almost like an eclipse, except Mercury isn't large enough to eclipse the Sun, right? So it's actually going to look very small in comparison for those that you can see it. So Mercury is going to be transiting the Sun, in between the Sun and the Earth. And this is like a reset of consciousness. This is some alignment between the Sun, which is your creative life force, how you creatively express yourself in the world, and Mercury, how you communicate your thoughts while it's in retrograde in Scorpio, and the Earth, which is your physical manifestation of your soul. So that is this alignment that is happening on the day of alignment, the day of awakening, 11/11. This is magical, and this is very symbolic. Because what this month is about teaching you to reconnect with your passions so you can live the truth of who you are more in alignment with your soul's purpose than how you've been living. And when there is this infusion of light, it reveals the shadow, and it's up to you to live closer to the new revelations, this awakening of who you are, than what you've been doing. So that's the challenge for you, right? Are you going to be living in alignment with your soul, or are you going to be really in those patterns that have been keeping you in whatever your shadow energy is? Now, in addition to this, November 2019 is a 5 universal month. Now, 5 is the number of change, radical change, dramatic change. 4 is the number of structure and foundations. Now 5 is the number of drama and changes the foundations. It shakes things up. It's kind of like an earthquake, which in a really fun way. 5 is associated with fun, actually, and experience and change and really shaking things up to create new paradigms. So all that is happening this month. So you can see how powerful this is, how high octane this is, and how it's so important for you to pay attention this month. So, I have 3 steps for you to navigate this incredibly transformational, high-octane energy. So your first step is to share your authentic self. So what do I mean by this? Now, most likely you've been hiding a part of yourself. Most likely there's been a part of you that's afraid to share something about yourself. Maybe you're in the spiritual closet. Maybe you have a hobby or something that you don't want people to know about. Maybe there's a part of your identity that you feel other people won't like you if they know about it. Mostly people who are interested in spiritual studies are a little bit in the spiritual closet, aren't we? And I remember for myself when it wasn't that long ago in the grand scheme of my life that I had a day job, and I was so afraid of people finding out about my witchy ways doing readings evenings and weekends, right? And I was so afraid. I didn't have a website, and I was really hiding. So I eventually got outed in my office, right, as being who I am, what I do, and I was terrified. And I have to tell you, it was like the best thing that happened to me, because right after that, I quit my job, I moved to California, and I pursued my dream, and things happened so fast once that happened. because I was like, this is who I am now, and this is me. And so now I'm going to pursue my dreams as myself. And that's when things happen so fast. So if there's a part of you, even if it's about not expressing something that a feeling that you've had with a certain person, again, this Scorpio energy is keeping you in alignment with your deepest feelings. And Mercury is about expressing your deepest feelings. So if you're burying your feelings in some ways, it's time for you to express that as well. So I hope that I have encouraged you to do that. Now, the second thing is to reconnect with your passions. So there's most likely something that you used to do that filled you with so much joy, or it could be something that you've been thinking about doing that would fill you with so much joy that you've been burying, that you think you don't have time for. Right now, it's so important that you live from the heart, that you pursue your passions, because your passions will always lead you to your purpose. And that is what this Mercury retrograde is about. In Scorpio, it's about helping you reconnect with your passions. And remember that sun, Mercury's passing over the sun, that is about creative expression. So what is it that you haven't been doing that used to light you up or can light you up, that you've been thinking about and that you've been ignoring? Now is the time to do it. You must live from your heart, because that is also part of being authentic. Now, your third action step for this month is to learn something new. 5 is the energy of storytelling and learning and group energy. So anything that you can do that helps you connect with others and learn new things. Remember, 5 is about breaking the mold, and it's very much associated with education, teaching, and learning and studying, especially esoteric things, if you have an interest in that. And 5 is also about learning from experience. So it's not just about reading a book necessarily. It's about having an experience where you're going out and you're doing something new and you're exploring new things, and really, again, it's a number of fun. So learning something that brings you joy, not just to advance your career, but simply because you're interested in it, simply for the joy of it, simply to have fun learning. And when you do that, all kinds of serendipities happen. You can meet people who are more in alignment with yourself and start attracting people and circumstances that really support your joy. And I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that it's inspired you. And if you've enjoyed it, share it with your friends. I'm sure they will appreciate you for it. And I'm wishing you an exciting, enlightened, joyful 11th month of the year and beyond. Lots of love.